I recall traveling with you to Beijing for the U.S. Strategic and Economic Dialogue. I saw all of the preparation that went into that event. Here we have a White House adamant that there's going to be spontaneity. They want a good personal relationship with this Chinese counterpart. How difficult is that going to be achieved, given the history of how meetings like these are conducted?
Well, David, I think it's important to remember this is a first meeting between the two leaders, and it is very important that at this meeting they develop a personal rapport where they can do business when they agree and when they disagree, and there will be occasions for both. The China relationship is the most important bilateral relationship in the world, economically and increasingly in terms of global security. And I think the list of issues that is confronting these two leaders is extremely important in terms of our economic well-being, and when you add the issues regarding the DPRK in terms of our national security as well. So I think the stakes are very high for this to be a meeting where the leaders establish that kind of relationship. I think that the preparation that has gone into these kinds of meetings in the past has been quite considerable. There has in the past been the expectation of clear deliverables, results at the end. I would suspect that this is more of an initial meeting, but it is important that coming out of it, there is a way to work together going forward, and hopefully a bit of stepping back from some of the rhetoric.
How damaging has that rhetoric been? Certainly there was a lot of forceful rhetoric on the campaign trail. We've heard some since the president came into office. From what you know about how the Chinese perceive what's going on here in the U.S., how damaging do you think it's been?
My sense is that the Chinese are very aware of American politics, and they are willing to look at rhetoric for what rhetoric is, and then they look at actions for what actions are. So I think coming out of this meeting is going to be very important in terms of sending a signal as to what kind of actions the United States is actually going to take. And that covers a whole host of issues. So I think there's some room for some space between the two and to have a strong relationship. Fundamentally, our economic interests have to be zealously protected. We didn't hold back on criticizing China when we thought China was wrong. But we also acknowledged when they moved in a positive direction. We also knew when we needed their assistance that it had to be from the perspective of how do we advance something that's in our two national interests. There will be issues on which we disagree, and you've got to be able to sort the two separately.